Hello and welcome to another week of Sambo iRacing. We are back in the Mazda MX5 at Circuit de Navarra for the Speed Circuit, so the long one. Because this is being used by two different series, the production car SimLab Challenge and the Global Fanatec MX5 trophy thing, I have done this on a fixed setup so that it can be used by either. Now, obviously, if you have got a better setup, you might be able to shave a few seconds off or be able to corner slightly better. But this is the line, and these are my braking markers. If you are new to my channel, what I do is I do a hot lap, and then I do it again as a breakdown lap where I slow it all down, and a final time from the cockpit with the driving line on for you crazy people that like it that way. Enough of that, let's start the lap. Okay, let's start the hot lap. So we're over on the left-hand side. Trying to go as fast as we can, opening up this corner, just clipping the apex here. Looking for this first braking marker. An awful lot of corrections, just holding the wheel as steady as possible. Getting back on the power, over to the right-hand side, cut this corner. Start lining up entry into turn 5 here. We're just going to dab the brakes. Then we're going to hold it, building back up on the accelerator, off the apex here. We're going to go all the way down to first gear, cut the corner at the apex. An awful lot of corrections going on, as you can see. Out nice and wide, no wider than I am here. Down to first gear, get on the gas nice and early, cut the corner. So far so good. This is where we come into the acute angle, or turn 9. Again, getting on the brakes, down to second, down to first, cut the corner, getting back on the gas as early as possible. You will have to correct there because the back end's wanting to wash itself away. Hard on the brakes. It's very easy to off-track it out wide here. You gotta just stay in like I did. To second, back down to first, getting on the gas nice and early again. Keep the momentum going in this car. Final few corners now. Same again, we don't want to attack this one too aggressively. It's got a massive no-cut hump in it. This one's nice and easy, cut the corner, flat out. Now the final one, getting on the brakes, cutting the corner, on the gas, nice and early ahead of the apex. And then it's a free run to the line. Not my favourite track. So many guides for it this week. And luckily they're done now. Right, now for the breakdown. Okay, for the breakdown lap. I'll try and get us through it as fast as possible. We're just going flat out here. Start turning in at the 100. Just clipping this apex, and then just ahead you see where it starts getting dark on the track. So once we're a couple of car lengths into that, so when I'm going to get on the brake, I'm going to come off the gas. I'm going to hold it between about 50 and 30, just clipping this first apex. I'm obviously having to do quite a bit of counter steering to stop the rear end washing out off to the left. And again, still not on the gas, down to third gear, down to second gear, and down to first, and only now do I start trailing it off, start building back up on the throttle, cutting the corner, a little bit of counter steering, and now I'm back on 100% throttle. Over to the right hand side, get back over to the left so we can cut the corner here, nice and easy, up to third. And then at the end of this green asphalt here, this is when we're going to turn in. We're just going to get on the brakes, just about 20%, just to really get the weight onto the front wheels. And I'm going to hold the gas on somewhere between about 15 and 30 until we get down to the apex here, which we're cutting quite aggressively because we can. Back on 100% throttle. And then once I'm getting out over to the right-hand side here, I'm getting back on the brakes up to about 70%. Again, trailing it off down to second, down to first. And we're really going to cut this corner again because it's perfectly legal to do so. Back on 100% throttle. Now coming into this one, so it's the 50-meter marker on the right-hand side that I use as my marker. Once that goes out of sight, that's when I get on the brakes quite hard, up to about 90%. I'll leave it in second gear, trail it off, get down into first gear, and now I start building back up on the throttle. So I'm nearly on full throttle once I hit the apex. Little correction on exit. And now what we're looking for here is that, so before the 50-meter marker, if you see there's a black sign on the left, that's my braking marker here. And I get on 100% throttle using the ABS. It's only a short race that we're going to be doing, 25 minutes max, 15 minutes if you're in the Mazda race. And then we're going to drop it down to first on apex and then start building back up on the throttle. It's a really tricky corner, this, very slippy. May have to work your wheel with a few seesaws. So on this one, it's once we start on the red and white rumble strip is going to be our braking marker. And again, braking quite hard, down to first gear, cutting the corner, getting back on the gas nice and early. Don't exit too wide here. As you can see, I'm at the full limit of where you can go. Once we get to the rumble strip again, we're going to turn in, little dab of the brakes up to about 50%, and again down to first gear, cutting the corner and back on full throttle as early as possible. So on this one, you can either use, it's about the third or the second red strip or the cones on your right-hand side. And when we get there, we're going to brake again up to about 100%. It's a tricky corner, this. We can't be too aggressive because of this no-cut curbing that we've got. So we drop it down to first gear, getting on the gas as best as possible. Straighten her up, don't exit any further wide. Over to the right-hand side so we can get back across to the left because we want to be right on the left-hand side here. And then again, it's the start of this additional track that they've added in here. The start of this additional asphalt is where we're going to start braking. We're going to use the full width on entry here, up to nearly 100%. Drop it down to second gear. Drop it down to first gear as we trail off. Getting on the gas as early as possible to give us a nice run down the straight. Whew. Right, final time with the driving line coming up. What time did we actually do? It was a 1:57.5 something. 1:57.566. Okay. Okay, final time with the driving line on. As always, you guys, thanks for your support. I've been Sambo iRacing, and I'll see you guys in the week. Cheers.